Today we're going to have an amazing speaker, but just before that, please grab a drink. And I'm just putting this out there, so this might be an embarrassment. Naona nikishikiwa vitu watu wa Halinga wanapenda konyagi, so kama uko na kakota ikaribishe, karibu. Ronald Rotich is the brand innovation consultant, a neuro life coach, a speechwriter, and a speaking coach. He works with organizations and individuals to bring out their best. Some highlights. There's something I posted in our group. There is a particular speech he talked about the 4 most crucial words in your entire life as a man, which are real, you, marry, me. So yes, so if you watch the speech, then you know what's coming along. The next thing.
So I believe actually people are going through some form of grief. And let me explain. We have somehow lost something, right? You've lost a foundation you had built. You have lost a lifestyle. You had, an image. Can you imagine if your IG wall was full of, selfies in locations? Now the only selfie you're taking is in the balcony or the bedroom, right? I don't think you can talk about being productive if you're not in the right emotional state. Define a space in your house. Hata kama ni bed sitter bana. One bed is here, one edge of the bed is for Netflix, other bed is for office. But define one space whereby this is where I work. When I step here, I work.
One, to lead us in the Rotaract grace so that we can start at peace and with everyone on board. So Joanne, please proceed with the Rotaract grace.
Okay. For the Rotaract grace, oh God, and giver of all good, we thank thee for our daily food. May Rotary friends and Rotary ways help us to serve thee all our days. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Okay. For those who just joined us again, karibuni sana to our meeting. This is Rotary Club of Halinga. I'd like to describe us as a dynamic group of youth who want to see and make changes in our community one step at a time. So since COVID started, we've had one meeting already, and it was over Hangout, which is our second meeting. I did an online, so I wouldn't call it a poll, but I did an online poll, and I think everyone was saying during this particular period, they're very unproductive. And the one person I could only think about was Ronald, who we'll introduce in a few minutes. So yes, this is me telling you, Ronald, anza kufanya hizo jogging styles. Sasa ni watu wakichoge. So yes, anza kujog pole pole, much on the spot. So today we're going to have an amazing speaker. But just before that, please grab a drink. I shall look for I think Brian, you're online. Brian, if you can, please bring me my spectacles and my mursik. Yes. So jiami na whisky yako, konyagi, whichever you like. And I'm just putting this out there, so this might be an embarrassment. Naona nikishikiwa vitu watu wa Halinga wanapenda konyagi. So kama uko na kakota, ikaribishe, karibu. Yes. So thankfully, I hope everyone's mic is muted. Ndio nisikie reactions zenu. But before then, is there any person with an announcement? Please raise your hand if you have one. Oh yes, yes, our speaker. Yes, you're very much allowed to drink. Grab. I think it will even make the reaction better. Ndio ukideliver, una-deliver the extra actions. Yes. So, does anyone have any announcement before we introduce our speaker? Anyone? No one? Sawa. I noticed Celine, our PR director, had sent something about doing a... Oh, what was Hanisa? Okay. For those guys who have hand sanitizers, oh yeah, please, this is not the type of alcohol you're talking about. You're talking about digestible, edible alcohol, not this. Sijui kama you can make, if you can make cookies with alcohol, the better, mshare. Lakini hawa tunaona mnasema hand sanitizer ni sawa, hata vaa mask if you can. Anyway, so I was saying our PR director had posted something to do with a project. Yes, a project partnership with Social Club of Technical University. I think we are agreeable to working out something with them, so we'll take over from that. But without much ado, we have 1 minute to 8, and I'd like to keep time for once. So I'll introduce our speaker for the day, but in a very interesting style. I'll read his bio. Yes, so Ronald Rotich. I feel so nice saying this. Yeah, this is the only day in my life I shall be allowed to introduce him, so allow me to, yes. So Ronald Rotich is a brand innovation consultant, a neuro life coach, a speech writer, and a speaking coach. He works with organizations and individuals to bring out their best. Some highlights. There's something I posted in our group. There is a particular speech he talked about the 4 most crucial words in your entire life as a man, which are, will you marry me? So yes, so if you watch the speech, then you know what's coming along in the next few minutes. So some highlights. He's a 2-time winner of the Toastmasters Humor at Speech contest. He's the winner of the Toastmasters Table Topic contest in 2017. He's first place in the 2018 BMW Innovation Contest. Second runner in the 2016 Best of Toastmasters East Africa. Third place winner in a Global Insurance Ideation Contest. Adored by many, including me. He has worked, I don't think I need to read all that. So far, you know how much, yes, how big of a deal he is. On a personal level, he has inspired me to do a course on NLP. He is my go-to person for recommendation on staff and on people I'd like to meet and get to know. And apart from all those big things, he is a husband, he is a father of one beautiful, very intelligent and intimidating girl. Yeah, she does intimidate me in a lot of ways. And she is, Atishi, we're not talking about Leila today, and he happens to be my dear darling cousin. So with that, I welcome Mr. Ronald Rotich. You can now unmute your mic.
Okay, hello? You can hear me?
We can hear you.
Ah, wonderful. Okay, good evening, everybody. It's this is like a Friday turn up. I didn't think that I could drink, so I've just been drinking tea. So I have to make up for all that lost time after this. All right, so I think the first thing is if you have any questions, ask at any particular time. Any particular time, just put it in the chat box, or I don't know how you guys do it. How do Zoom calls operate?
No, I think for this particular one, for now, we'll all mute our microphones. So we'll use the chat options. Then if someone has a question in between, they can raise their hand to make it easier.
Okay, perfect. So I guess my chat box is open, and I guess, yeah. So as she said, yes, I do many things. And when I was asked to come speak about how to be productive in unprecedented times, I saw 2 angles to it, right? And there's the coaching angle and there's the action bit. And first and foremost, let me talk about the coaching angle. Since COVID-19 happened, I think everybody is in a state of shock, right? You know, if let's say you built your identity on being the turn-up guy, you're always in the club on Friday, you're with mamas. Now there's no club, there's no mamas, right? If you're a guy who was always, taking loans everywhere, where are the loans now? There's no money, Cindy. If let's say you had dumped someone, guys were hitting on you, and then you said no, no, no. Now you see you're by yourself. Now you're COVID thirsty. Or is it Corona hunger, right? And I mean, of course, and also, of course, jobs, right? I can imagine either you have no job now, or things have really changed. And I believe actually people are going through some form of grief. And let me explain. We have somehow lost something, right? You've lost a foundation you had built. You have lost a lifestyle. You had, an image. You know, can you imagine if your IG wall was full of, selfies in locations? Now the only selfie you're taking, Vanna, is in the balcony or the bedroom, right? It's all these things, right? And we've all lost something. And I think like we're all going through a state of shock, and we're grieving. So some people are in denial, some are slowly accepting, some have refused to accept. They're still saying never, never, ever. This thing has to end, and it's gonna take a toll. I mean, it's gonna eventually you have to overcome it. I also think that during this time, because we have been being forced to be by ourselves, there's everything that you've been hiding from yourself, right? So you can imagine, let's say you knew that, I need to address this aspect of myself, this aspect of my relationships with my loved ones. It's all gonna come out during this time, right? So if you had some insecurities, right, about yourself, well, I can tell you right now, it's all gonna come out. If you had any fear, right, right now it's gonna be heightened no matter what, right? It's gonna be heightened no matter what, and it's really a tough period, right? Because everything that's been sitting beneath now is gonna begin popping out, right? And it's important to recognize what's there. Okay, does that make sense so far? Is everybody together? Okay, wonderful. How many of you are single, by the way? Hey, okay, unko wengi. Okay, pole sana. I don't know, is Tinder working? I don't know, but anyway. All right. So when so the first thing is really your emotional state. I don't think you can talk about being productive if you're not in the right emotional state, right? If you're not dealing with stuff, if you're not working on things that are popping up, the insecurities, all those things you've been hiding, it's hard to be productive, right? So as long as you begin to address those issues that are actually burning or boiling beneath, then you can begin to be productive, all right? And there's a process to emotions, right? For any emotion you have, and let's think about negative emotions. Number one, you must recognize that you have an emotion. You must acknowledge, meaning say, I am angry, I am lonely, I am sad, I am something, right? And then thirdly, you must express it, right? So you must find a way to express this emotion, right? And then finally let go. So think about the same pattern. If you don't know, most people who don't know what they're doing, they want to acknowledge it, but they're expressing it in the wrong ways, right? So someone's there pissed off, but you're wondering, why is he pissed off, right? Why is someone so pissed off and I just said hi? It's like you start reacting without, it has to come out no matter what. So the right way is, whatever you're going through, you must recognize it, you must acknowledge it, and just say, I am feeling this way. And it's okay to be honest with yourself. And then you must express it in a healthy way. And healthy meaning, of course, if you want to journal, talk to somebody, or please, no drugs, no alcohol. Okay, those are for fun only, right? Also sex, right? Right, also sex, but express it in a positive way.
But
hello? All right, and then let it go, right? All right, so we're good with that, right? So I think the first thing is your emotional state. But once your emotional state, I mean, it's an ongoing process. I'm not saying you'll be at some point whereby you'll be like, I am done. It never ends. You're continuously evolving, and you're always evolving. So as long as you continue to deal with the emotional state, then you will be fine. Then now we can talk about hey, how do we be productive, right? And there's a quote by a book from a book called Atomic Habits, and it says, the quality of your life depends on the quality of your habits. And there's a story I tell people. There's a while back, I used to work as a content writer in Jumia. And in Jumia, at that time I joined as a writer, we were about 20 people. And when I left, of course, I had risen and I had done my thing. But I remember I had a boda guy. This boda guy would come take me, to work, take me to the office, right? So, you're there in a nice suit and a laptop, a nice shirt, heading to work, and right? And then one day, this guy tells me, hey, boss, bana, kesho, I won't be around. I'm asking Kwani, what's up? Ah, manze, I'm going to buy a shamba. I'm like, what? A shamba? What do you mean? The guy says, actually, yeah, it's my third shamba. So now I was like, now surely, me who has a laptop, I have, I know Excel, I know project management, I have email, I have Gmail, I have LinkedIn profile, Sina shamba, right? Me sina shamba, me I'm just here at the, living in the millennial lifestyle, and I don't have anything. And this guy, a border guy, he's talking about now how, he's going to buy his third shamba, right? Until today, that guy is still there. He's called Jeremiah. He even changed bikes, right? It's not about the guy I met, right? And he just he that guy has more bikes. After his first bike, he paid back the loan, bought more bikes, hired more people, right? And the guy I think it was about 10 bikes. And the one thing I realized is there's a quote by I forgot his name, but he says, "Culture eats strategy for breakfast." Right? Culture eats strategy for breakfast. So think about this, right? Everyone has goals. You have a goal, I have a goal, right? And we've been taught to have big goals, right? In fact, we've all been taught about SMART goals, and specific, measurable, blah, 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 right? But to put this strategy into action, you need a culture, and the culture is made up of habits, right? Habits and values. And so what at that time I had was a strategy, right? But my culture, my values were not so much there. But about a guy, he didn't have a strategy. The guy didn't have a plan to do in 10 years, man, say, I'm going to be blinging, I'm going to buy a Bentley. He may just knew one thing. Me, I show up to work every day and I make money. I know how to make money today, right? And so the thing is, it all comes down to the quality of your habits. What are your habits, right? What are you doing? I know being at home now is quite crazy, right? You don't know the difference between, when you used to go to work, when you go to work, it's time to work. When you come home, it's time to rest. But now you're in the same location and you're expected to work, rest, work out, do everything. It's actually very tiring on the brain, right? So what I tell people is this, number one. Number one, I would say is this, number one, build a rhythm, right? I don't say routine, because routine sounds like military. Routine sounds like military. Build a rhythm. That's what we were taught in our child school. We were told that children work on rhythm, right? It's not about routine. They know it's like a dance. Like your day is like a dance. It has a rhythm. It has a flow, right? Get up in the morning. You do this slowly, ease into the next. Build a rhythm. Build a rhythm to your day, and the rhythm will sort of make you feel good. So you know that, I wake up in the morning. Please do shower. Please don't stay 3 days without showering. Please, please, please brush your teeth. Yes, but build a rhythm, right? You know that, at some point I'm going to do one thing. At this point, I'm going to do the next thing. And then at this point, I'm going to relax. But then goes on to my second point, right? If you can just do something important for only 30 minutes or 1 hour, right? I'm sure most of you have read the book, The 5-Hour Rule, right? But the power of habits is like a compound interest when it comes to loans, right? If you think about money, if you're to deposit 100 shillings every single day, you're much further ahead than wanting to deposit 1,000,000 shillings one time. So same thing with you staying at home. Like for myself, it's kind of hard working from home, right? I have a small child and she's everywhere. But no matter what, I must make sure that I get 1 hour to do something that's important. That means something I'm researching, something I'm working towards, something I'm going to become better at. All right? Very, very important. But because of I have that routine, that rhythm, and I have that time to do this important thing, I also build in a reward system. Meaning because of doing this, then I get to watch a movie. I get to relax. I get to take an afternoon nap. I get to buy myself a drink, right? So the routine is there. I know that, today wake up, yes, I'll spend time with the family, but I have to do some work, something productive, then I can reward myself, which is very, very key. Does that make sense? Does that make sense? Is everybody okay with that? And I wanted to say also, I think right now we're at a period whereby it's going to define us as a people and define you. I think about, there's someone who told me once, from pain comes so much beauty. I think about South Africans, right? South Africans went through apartheid. They went through some of the toughest period there is in their lives. I mean, of course, maybe they've gone through more before. I don't know, who knows them. But if you hear South Africans sing, right? If you hear them singing, right? There's so much depth in their songs, right? There's so much depth. And so, and during those times, they use the songs to inspire them. They use the songs to actually find a way to actually keep them motivated and keep them going. And it's the same situation we're in right now. We are going through a tough period, right? I think this is like World War III, right? It is really, really tough, extremely tough, and it's up to us as an individual, right, to find something to make ourselves happy, right? See, before you would go to the club, someone will make you laugh. You'd go watch a concert, someone will make you happy. But now the responsibility of being happy is actually upon yourself. And it's hard for those who have never done it before, because now you have to find a way to make your life interesting. And it's quite something. So I would say there's a quote by Albert Einstein that says, we act as though comfort and luxury were the chief requirements of life, when all we need to make us happy is something to be enthusiastic about. So I don't know what your situation is. I don't know how many of you probably still have a job or still have an income or have no income. I don't know what the situation is, but I think it's important to find something to be enthusiastic about, something to be enthusiastic about, and then build a rhythm around it, build a reward around it, right? And that way your days become more productive and you're actually more happy as you go along in your day, all right? It makes sense so far? Yeah, and all right. So I would say, yeah, I think the main thing is, yes, build your rhythm, and also gratitude, right? I think it's it's hard to be grateful, but if you try and be grateful at this moment, it really does something a lot to you, right? So try and be grateful for the small things, the really small things, right? Like today you got to finish Money Heist. Hey, bella ciao, bella ciao. That's be grateful, right? Because Netflix has something important, right? Right? Today you got to order chicken, instead of eating burgers, right? Be happy about it. Maybe today someone DM'd you, Bana, and it's someone you like, and like, hey, today was a good day, Bana. The guy DM'd me, Bana. It's cool. Find small things to be grateful for, right? And again, I go back to the emotional state. You have to be in the right emotional state to be productive or to do anything worthwhile. All right. And I think that's about it, actually. I think I've any questions? I think that was as simple as that. I think for me, yes, there's another thing I remember. I guess it's the same thing I was talking about the small habits. Let me expand on the quality of habits, right? When I give talks to youth, I talk about having a daily non-negotiable activity. So let's say you want to become the best at something. So like about a few years ago, I can't remember when I began this journey, I told myself I want to become the best public speaker and the best consultant. How do I do that? At that time, I used to stammer a lot. So I said, listen, I am going to join Toastmasters. I'm going to learn everything about communication. Then secondly, I began learning NLP because I need to understand psychology of human beings. Because at that time I had to sell, I had to come up with strategies to actually influence people, right? And it all began actually with just every single day, other than doing some courses, but every single day, I would actually read something. I would be reading a book. I'd read 3 pages, 4 pages, right? About anything to do with communication and psychology, right? And so I'll not forget, in the beginning, it looked like, okay, yeah, sure. But then at some point, when I began giving speeches, people would begin reacting differently. And I'll not forget at the time I did a presentation. I used to do presentations, then you do those PowerPoint presentations, and the client tells you, we'll call you, don't call us. Don't say don't call us part. I did a presentation, and then the whole, like the client, their mouth was just open, like, wow, And my boss was sitting there like, hey, okay, that was good. And that was about 3 months after I began the journey. And it was such a defining moment because I realized the power of those small things, right? Because I had a daily non-negotiable activity. Every day I had to read something and apply, right? Not just read, apply, right? Anything to do with communication, public speaking, and psychology. And I made sure I'll do that. But eventually, the growth began coming. The growth began coming. I began reading about brand strategy and business. And I'll not forget, I think 6 months down the line, I was in a meeting and I think I was quoting up to 5 books at one time. And I was like, how do I know all this? But it's because I had of those small things, right? And you see, to me, I told myself, I want to become the best at this thing. I want to become the best at this thing. And that's what I did. And so even now, with the changes happening, right, and coaching has sort of taken it's really slowed down. Now I'm working towards now really amping my consulting side, right? How do I offer consulting product that gives you growth, gives you money, high return, not just paperwork or strategy ideas, but actually you actually get customers, you get money in return, and that's what I'm working with. And for me, I make sure that even if I just for 1 hour, even just 1 hour, right, a day, I'm happy. Yes, and yeah. Someone's asking, some of us, let's say we don't know what we really want. So how do we figure ourselves out? So I would say I think the problem is you're trying to see what you're good at with your eyes and your ears, right? I would say, why don't you look at your life story? Yeah, your life story has so many clues onto what you're good at. What are your strengths, right? What are your strengths? I'll never forget when I was in primary school. I used to do poetry, right? So hello, okay. So I used to do poetry. Someone please turn off your audio. All right. So I remember I used to do poetry, right? And I used to just write. Okay. But I never knew that one day this would help me become a speech writer, right? A copywriter, to be able to do my own words, right? But if you look at your life, if you look at your life and the history of your life, you can actually see the clues of what your strengths are. So what are your strengths? What are you good at? What are your passions? That actually is a big clue on what, where you could actually be heading towards. All right. Does that answer your question? I think yes, and there's still someone making noise. I can't believe, man. Damn, these meetings are hard. Anyway, so
No, sorry about that. I've muted them. I'm sorry.
oh, no problem. It's okay.
Okay.
It's okay. Yes. Any other? So I think I mean I'll not forget. I mean I'm 36 years old, and I think even at age 33, I didn't know what I wanted. Right. I mean even right now I'm still figuring myself out. I know guys who are 55 and they're still figuring themselves out. I don't think it's a destination, right? It's a journey. And so I think the first, don't beat yourself up. You don't know what you want. Just I think find your passion, find your strengths, and find a way to actually package it and deliver it. Right? If you need a mentor or apprentice, do it. But is in everything you've gone through in your life, everything you've gone through in your life, there are clues to exactly what where you should be going. It's like I always say, nothing is for nothing. That's my. I think I mean I look back and I realize actually nothing is for nothing because I was in this job because I did this, I grew and I learned this. So nothing is for nothing, right? And I would say just find your strengths. What are your strengths? What are your strengths? And if you don't know, ask your best friend or ask a stranger, someone who's in the office, someone who will just tell you the truth. By the way, you're crap at this, but you're good at this, and that thing that's the best thing you can. Yeah. All right. Any other questions?
Okay, I have a question, but I can't see raise hand because I'm a host.
Okay.
I don't know whose mic. I've tried muting everyone. In case your mic is Santana, let me just mute you for a minute because you've just joined. Hiya. So my question is, you talked about emotional intelligence,
Mm.
and then you went on and said about being single, and then like I won't emphasize on that. But my question is on the EQ bit. How do you deal? Like you said, this is the time when you have to go inwards and leave
Yeah.
inwards outwards. Because
Mm.
during the whole time you're leaving outwards inwards.
Yeah.
So what can you do that is conscious to deal with your demons? Because I think we all have things we never dealt with. Okay, demons is
Mm.
such a aggravated word, but I'm like, the things we all, each one of us, we didn't deal with. Probably
Yeah.
we became too busy and we just decided, I will heal at some point. But for a change, we have so much time in our hands, and it's constantly recurring. So how do you deal with such situations?
I would say number one, I think have an appointment with your demons and your fears. Say, listen, me, I'll deal with you, Bana, from 11 to 12. All right. And then 11 to 12 now, you can begin writing a letter to your demon. Say, listen, you stupid guy. You know, I mean, that's one way. You could also reach out to a coach. I think the worst thing about this period is, the sad bit is you can continuously beat yourself up the whole day, and it's so draining. It is so draining. Can you imagine the whole day just being in fear, thinking about everything that could go wrong? I think that's the worst thing you can do for yourself and your body. In fact, your body takes a toll on it because the thoughts you have produce chemicals that affect your physical body, right? So I would say number one, have an appointment with your demons. In fact, give them names, right? Give them names, right? And begin getting to understand these demons. What's trying to tell you? What's it trying to tell you about you? What's the lesson from these demons, right? Because they are there for a reason, right? They are there for a reason. And if you need to talk to somebody right now, in fact, I think there are several therapists and coaches offering free sessions. Go for them, grab them. But definitely, number one, please make it an appointment. Say you're going to do it for only an hour or two, but please don't do it the whole day, because that is the one thing that will wear you down. In fact, if you continue doing that, after a month, you look like you're 50 years old. Because now you'll be so exhausted, you'll be so fatigued from just overthinking about everything that could go wrong. So make an appointment, just like make an appointment to watch Netflix, to do work, to get on a Zoom call. Make an appointment to go inward, right? Put on some music, sit there and say, Sawa, let's talk about my last breakup. And then, there was a, like this guy, this thing NLP, whereby there's called the Einstein strategy. There's a guy who used to have a meeting with himself. And the guy would put like 7 seats and he would say, this is my cabinet. And he gave each person in the cabinet a name, right? And then he would move from his seat to each seat and act like that person. But in the end, and then he would gather views. It's like if you get NLP, you'll get how it works. But at the end of it, when he comes back to his seat, he's gotten all the feedback from his cabinet, right? So you know how people say people have a chama in their head, a committee. No. Have a meeting with your chama, give them a name ban. Say, sir, today is how? And start getting feedback from them, But then also stop it. At some point, end it and move on with life. Remember to continue with life. Remember rhythm and dance. After that, move on to something productive. Be grateful. Take a walk. Then reward yourself, Yeah. That's what I would say. Yes. Any other question?
Thank you.
Hi.
Yes.
Yeah, I have a question, quick one. So during this time of COVID-19, we've had maybe mental issues or cases are on the rise.
Yes.
So as a youth with friends, and my question is, if for in any case that you have a friend that you suspect or you think might have some mental challenges, as a friend, which is the best way to like try and assist him or her, or what is the first thing I can do to be able to help him or her, other than maybe directing him or her to a mental expert and so about me myself, how can I help him or her?
I think the first thing I'll say, number one,
Yeah.
you're responsible for yourself and no one else. It's kind of hard to say it, but it's the truth. You're responsible, and I say this because it's very easy for you to begin carrying your friend, and you become an emotional crutch, and then also he begins to affect your emotions, right? So understand that. Listen, you're responsible for only yourself. You can only do so much, right? There's the prayer serenity. Lord, give me the wisdom to know the things I can't and cannot change, right? So I think everything you said, like you, as long as you check up on him and you directed him, everything is a choice. I think your friend, he knows you care. And it's a choice for him to either say, listen, right, let me go up there and seek help. Let me tell you one thing. There are actually people, and I'm not saying it's your friend, who pride themselves in being in a bad situation. I'm sure each of you has a friend who, by the way, every day, every month for the last 10 years has been in problems. And it's like somehow they draw strength from getting pity from people, from I don't know what, right? You should be very, very careful. Actually be very, very careful, because actually they actually just suck your energy, and they're sucking, and probably that person maybe has 10 friends like you who are calling them. And so they feed off all that. It's something else. Yeah, it's quite serious. But what you're doing is already enough. What you're doing is more than enough. You're redirecting. You're checking up on them. You're calling. Pray for them. I mean, pray for them. And I think that's it. But remember, that person is not your responsibility. You're only doing the bit you can as a friend. It is not your responsibility. You're responsible for you and your happiness and your survival, right? So I mean, and also I think you sound like a very caring person. You should also be very careful that it's not used against you. All right, because people can also use that because they know you're that soft, and they can, the emotional leeches, emotional blackmailers. I don't know how to say it. How many of you have ever dated somebody who, when they're high, and then sometimes when things are bad, they can threaten and switch things, and they're so sad. And it's like an emotional blackmail, like that. Then you run to the rescue. Oh my, let me save them. Let me, right? They know what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing. So please be careful. All right. But good question. Very good question. And definitely we shall see a lot. A lot of bad things happening. A lot of people are going through a lot, man. Wow, it's sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yitzhak.
Mm.
Yes. Any other question? Okay. Then I don't know what's the process, Karen. But I think I also want to say, I think just like the South Africans, the stories about South Africans and how they went through apartheid and they went through the tough times, but out of it they got such beautiful music. I think that's the same thing you can do with your life through this period. By finding your joy, something beautiful can come out of it, right? So find your joy, find your song, right? And you come out of this stronger and a whole lot more valuable, and also a lot more employable and with more money. You never know.
Uh, I, I can see there. I don't know whether there's a question, but I've seen people joining in. Okay, that's fine. So what I'll do is, in case you want to further consult, I can give you Ronald's email with his permission. That's
Yeah,
okay?
that's fine. Yes, the official email, not the personal email.
Yes, the official email. And I realized WhatsApp is it's useless to Ronald. So we shall stick to email.
No,
Email.
no, it's not that. Let me tell you. Are you guys like me, bana? WhatsApp imejaa sana. And then some days you just take a break, bana. Some days you just take a break, bana. There are so many forwards, and TikTok videos and things. Some days, bana, I take a holiday, bana. I'll respond to everything tomorrow. It's not an emergency. It is, what's up? Sijui nini IG. Hey, so many forwards, bana. It's out of control, bana. Groups, chatting. Take a holiday sometimes also. A digital holiday.
Well, I can speak for some people. Some of us can run away from WhatsApp because of certain things and people, and it's fine. We take you as you are, and we thank you for honoring us with your time. So I shall bring, we call him daddy jokes. He has weird dad jokes, and he's not even near being a dad. So I'll invite George to give a small vote of thanks. I wish this was in person, but too bad. So George, if you are online, I hope you're online. Let me just confirm. George, if you can hear us.
Yes, I am. I'm online.
Sawa. So me, I'm muting my mic. Take over.
Okay. Before I give a vote of thanks, I'd like to ask Ronald a question. My question is, what can I do to create a good remote or online working culture? Ronald?
Okay. A good online remote working culture.
Yeah.
I think number one, define a space. Define a space in your house. Hata kama ni bed sitter bana. One bed is here, one edge of the bed is for Netflix, other bed is for office. But define one space whereby this is where I work. When I step here, I work. When I move here, I rest. And I think that would be very important. Also, it's important to, I think it's like going to work, yeah? In the morning, after your breakfast, again, routine, rhythm, right? Build a rhythm. You know that, you're checking into your office at 9, right? Check into your office at 9, right? Hata kama uko na hangover, how comes it's weird when you have a boss, even if you have a hangover, you run to the office. Sendio? You go home at 5 in the morning, 7:30 you're in the matatu, 9 you're in the office, right? So do same thing for yourself, Bana. If you have a remote office, I would definitely say do that, right? Put it, have a space dedicated to that, right? Another thing also is shut off social media. Social media can waste your time, right? If you look at, there's a book called Deep Work, right? And it talks about how because we don't get to focus solely on one thing, and we're always just switching between so many things, we are actually doing more damage to our brains than anything, right? But social media, check only if it's morning, lunchtime, and evening. In fact, for me, WhatsApp's normally, I check, most groups I check in the evening. I don't open any particular group chat until evening, right? Instagram until evening. TikTok, 20 minutes only. Because again, TikTok can waste your life, but it's amazing in the evening, right? So when you're in your office, you're in your office, right? And one thing also you also realize from remote office, and I learned this when I became self-employed, you don't need to work 8 to 5. As in I used to go to office every day from 8 to 5. You actually realize real work takes you 3 hours, right? 3 hours max. If you do your work effectively, 3 hours. The rest of the time really you should be focused on how you're going to grow your business, how you're going to make more money, or reflecting on what you've done, right? But real work takes you 2 hours max. 2 hours max is what is real work is. But yeah, check out the book Deep Work. In fact, I remember there's even there's this thing online that can limit your time on your laptop, right? So like on your laptop, it's a timer. If you tell this timer, listen, I only need 2 hours of social media. Every time you log on, it begins counting down. And once you do your time, it locks you out. It locks you out, so you're forced to work. Yeah, but yeah, there's a book called Deep Work. So deep work is very important. Yeah.
Great, great. Thank you very much for answering that. I don't know if there's anyone, maybe you had a question before I move on to out of time. Right. Okay. Thank you very much, Ronald, for taking your time joining us this evening and for your talk and accepting our invitation. I hope everyone enjoyed. I can see we are 27. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this session. It was very informative. If you didn't, if maybe you joined halfway, Karen, I can see you're recording it. You can release the video later. But yeah, thank you very much, Ronald. And it's a privilege to have you here. And yeah, thank you, Karen, for inviting him to speak to us. Thank you.
Thank you very much for having me.
Sorry. Now, yes, I'm recording it, so I shall avail the recording to Ronald, and I'll post it on our social media page, specifically Facebook. Before we do the 4-way test, so we have something for non-retirees and non-retirees, which we call the 4-way test. It's basically our guiding principle. But before I do that, I just want to confirm for the sake of the final toast, that these are the clubs that are represented. If I don't mention your club, please include it in the chat section. So there is Parklands, courtesy of Masingala. It's amazing to see you again. There is Youth Zone. There is Naivasha. There's Youth Zone courtesy of Deville, but I've seen his left. There's Naivasha courtesy of Coletta and Caleb. There's Nakuru. Yeah, we celebrate to ADR Infantas. Please, if there's any other club that I've not mentioned, let me know. Apart from that, I've just seen a question, which, let me just confirm from the chat section. The question is, what is your Facebook page? Our Facebook page should be Rotary Club of Hurlingham, but I'll let our admin confirm that. Our admin is George. So George, if you're online, just, yeah. Or the Youth Zone, yes, Davil, I've mentioned you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, our Facebook page is Rotary Club of Hurlingham. Yep.
Good. Oh yeah, Kalama, Langata. Sorry, I am so sorry to forget you. So before anything else, I'll let Karags take over and guide us through the four-way test before we toast. We do the final toast. So Karags, if you can hear me, please unmute your mic. Is Karags online? Okay. Oh, yes. Karago, go ahead. Karags, I can see your mic is unmuted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can, from afar, yes.
Of the things we think, say, or do, is it the truth? Is it fair to all concerned? Will it build goodwill and better friendships? Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you very much. So ordinarily we'd do this with our hands held together and hardware, software, but sadly, yes, courtesy of COVID-19, I don't think we'll be holding hands anytime soon or hugging, which is so sad. But I'm looking forward to a time when we will not be wearing masks and talking to each other and we can hug. I have such a weird hugging culture, but yes. So with that, I'd like to do the final toast so that I can open the floor to other stuff, other things. So if you can see me, your hand to, yes, your left side or right side, whichever. And for those of you whose hearts are in the belly, whichever. So Rotary Club of Hurlingham in conjunction with Rotary Club of Parklands, Rotary Club of Youth Zone, Rotary Club of Naivasha, Rotary Club of Nakuru, Rotary Club of Langata. I give you Rotary world over. To the Rotary world over. Sawa sawa. So officially the meeting is adjourned. I shall request all of you to unmute your mics so that you can say hi to each other, bye to each other. But other than that, the formal session is done. Thank you so much, Ronald, for joining us and impacting us. I think I have like a whole list of both sides. Thank you.